As the summer fades, epic adventures begin here on Short Story Universe Audio. Autumn is right around the corner. The shadows grow longer, the stories grow bigger, and the adventures, they never stop. So grab a seat, relax, and dive into heroes, villains, and world beyond imagination, where every season brings a new story worth remembering. Thanks for watching. To fully enjoy this video, please ensure CC closed captions, aka subtitles, is turned on. Thanks for clicking on my video, Superman 2025, Opening Text Deep Dive. Please enjoy the upcoming AI podcasters, created by Notebook LM. Their further breakdown of my thoughts on James Gunn's opening text is both intriguing and enjoyable. So grab a snack, sit back, and enjoy Superman 2025, Opening Text Deep Dive.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Really excited about today's show. We're doing something a bit different, diving into something super subtle, but honestly, really fundamental in filmmaking. We're talking about the opening text, specifically the proposed opening text for the new Superman 2025 movie. And our guide for this, it's Vandale, the creator of Short Story Universe. They've put together this really insightful analysis, quite critical actually, of this crucial bit of narrative setup. So our mission today is basically to unpack this opening text. It's designed seemingly to ground us with this rhythmic rule of threes, you know? But does it potentially create some, well, let's say intriguing, maybe even confusing issues for the whole DC Universe world building? And crucially, for Superman's place in it all.
Yeah, it's such a vital thing to look at. Opening texts. They're like the first handshake, aren't they? Your first impression of the story's world. They set the tone, manage your expectations, lay down the groundwork, all in just a few lines, usually. But what happens when that groundwork, right from the get-go, feels maybe a little shaky? Or maybe it accidentally promises something the film struggles to deliver on? That's exactly what we're digging into. And yeah, Short Story Universe talks about epic tales, intriguing characters, all that good stuff. But for this deep dive, we're laser focused on just this one piece, the opening text analysis.
You absolutely nailed it. Now, the source material we're looking at, it suggests James Gunn's intent here, allegedly, was all about style, about rhythm. This repetition of three centuries, 3 decades, 3 years, 3 weeks, 3 hours, 3 minutes. It's supposed to just flow nicely, sound kind of poetic, not necessarily deep symbolism like the DC Trinity or anything.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting, our source argues pretty strongly that this stylistic choice, this thing done just for rhythm, might actually have some pretty big narrative consequences, like major world-building implications, ripples that could spread across the whole DCU, maybe even challenge the logic of how this new universe is being built.
Okay, right. Let's break it down then systematically. We're going to walk through each of these 6 time frames from the text and really explore the questions, the contradictions they raise according to Short Story Universe. Ready to jump into this timeline puzzle?
Absolutely. Let's do it. The details here are everything.
First 3, it reads, 3 centuries ago, the first superpowered beings, known as metahumans, appeared on Earth, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters. Okay, just pause there for a second. Listener, think about that. Metahumans. Since the 1700s, that's huge. A massive revelation to kick things off with. What does that immediately do to the world we're about to step into? It kind of redefines the whole backdrop, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and this is the core critique from the source material. It's perplexing. If you've got gods and monsters, actual superpowered beings walking the earth for 300 years, since like the American Revolution era, why does the world in the movie still seem to react like Superman is this totally new, unprecedented thing, a game changer? I mean, think about it. Governments, they surely have secret agencies, maybe whole departments, just for dealing with metahumans. Religions, they've had to adapt, right? Maybe rewrite some scripture, call them angels, demons. Wars would be fought differently. Culture, art, everything. It should all look drastically different if you've had centuries of superpowered people around.
So the source is saying this very first line, which is meant to sound epic and establish history, actually, kind of waters down Superman's arrival. Makes him seem less unique. It turns him from the event into just, well, maybe the most powerful one so far, but still just joining a long-running show. Like he's late to a party that started 300 years ago.
Exactly. It fundamentally shifts how you see him right from the start.
Yeah.
And it makes you question the world building itself. Is it consistent? Does it make sense? If societies haven't visibly adapted to centuries of metahumans, the whole setup feels wobbly. Superman isn't the dawn of something new. He's just the latest, maybe loudest arrival. It really undercuts his iconic status before the story even begins.
Yeah, that context shift is massive. Okay, let's move to the second. 3. 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. So Kal-El arrives 30 years ago. Seems unique, right? Alien baby.
But hang on, connect it back to what we were just told. A world with 300 years of metahumans. Gods and monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, so an alien baby shows up. Wouldn't world leaders, maybe even just regular folks aware of metahumans, just go, okay, another super being? Maybe he's from space, that's different, but fundamentally, isn't he just one more powerful individual in a world already used to them? The text implies he's special, maybe because he's alien. But against that 300-year backdrop, he might just be another face in the superpowered crowd, at least initially, until the plot needs him to be the most powerful. And the source points out something interesting here. Wouldn't it have been better to see some of those earlier metahumans visually establish that history, show us what these gods and monsters were like instead of just reading it?
Oh, absolutely. Show, don't tell, right? Especially in a superhero movie, seeing some 18th century metahuman action would ground that history way more than just text. Okay, third. 3. 3 years ago, the baby, now grown, announced himself as Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all. The big debut, Clark finally steps out after hiding for what, 27 years?
Right. But again, context matters.
Mm-hmm.
In those 27 years Clark was growing up, were there other heroes operating? Villains? If society already has this concept of gods and monsters, if metahumans aren't a complete shock, why did Clark wait so long? What was the hesitation? Shouldn't there have been, existing heroes he could look up to, or villains he felt compelled to stop earlier? Why does he emerge seemingly out of the blue as a full-grown adult, only when some crisis hits? The source really highlights this as a missed opportunity for what it calls Day 3 Superman hype. That initial buzz, seeing him maybe figure out the suit, that first flight in public, the world reacting. That would have felt significant.
Totally. That first appearance energy is gold. We just get told it happened 3 years ago. Okay, 4. 3. 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped the country of Boravia from invading Jarhampur, sparking controversy around the world. Superman, the global peacekeeper, sounds impressive.
It does sound impressive. And the source notes, yeah, this could have been a great moment for that Day 3 hype we just mentioned. A new hero making a massive global impact. But the timing feels weirdly placed. When you look at the whole text scroll, especially knowing what comes next with Lois Lane's interview, it starts to feel less like organic storytelling and more like, ticking boxes for the rule of threes. This potentially huge defining event for early Superman just becomes another bullet point happening 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Its impact feels kind of lost in the rhythmic shuffle.
Right, it loses its punch when it's just squeezed in there. 5th 3, and things get immediate. 3 hours ago, a metahuman called the Hammer of Boravia attacked Superman in the city of Metropolis. Direct threat, big fight, right before the movie starts. Strong hook.
Well, it sounds like a strong hook, but the source analysis finds this bit particularly super contrived, like it exists only for the rule of threes. Why Boravia again? Why is this the first specific villain threat we hear about? Not Lex, not Brainiac, some random Hammer of Boravia. It feels kind of small scale for Superman's intro, doesn't it? But here's the kicker, the really confusing part the source points out. The timing contradiction. The text says, this fight happened 3 hours ago in Metropolis. Okay, but then the movie supposedly opens with Lois and Clark having this sporadic interview in her apartment. And what are they talking about? His actions from 3 weeks ago.
So he just had a massive fight in Metropolis 3 hours ago, but he's casually chatting with Lois about something from 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
Wouldn't the massive fight 3 hours ago be the hot topic? Wouldn't he be, recovering? Wouldn't the city be in chaos? It completely breaks the narrative coherence, according to the source. The timing of that character interaction feels totally almost nonsensical given the opening text's own timeline. It pulls you right out of the story.
Wow. Yeah, that's not just a small detail. That's a pretty major logic break right at the start. Okay. And that brings us to the 6th and final 3, which sounds dramatic. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost a battle for the first time.
Yeah.
His first defeat ever, happening literally moments before Fame 1. That's meant to be shocking, right?
Shocking, yes, but believable. The source expresses some serious skepticism here. 3 years of being Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all, and he's never lost a battle until 3 minutes ago, against the Hammer of Boravia. It feels less like organic character development, showing his struggles over time, and more like the script just needed a dramatic beat for the opener. Okay, time for his first loss right here. But the most confusing part, logistically, the source highlights the jump. If he lost this fight in Metropolis 3 minutes ago, how is he suddenly crashing down at the entrance to the Fortress of Solitude?
Right. Did he catch an Uber, like Metropolis of the Arctic, in under 180 seconds after getting beaten up?
It's instantaneous. There's no sense of travel, no struggle, no desperation to get to safety. It just happens. Poof, he's at the fortress.
Yeah, that robs us of potentially great visual storytelling, doesn't it? We don't see his invincibility tested over time. We don't see this first crucial defeat, and we don't see the aftermath or the journey.
Exactly. The source argues it compresses way too much, 3 years of wins, the first loss, the impossible travel, into just a statement. You lose all the emotional weight, the narrative impact. It's telling, not showing, at its most extreme.
So, amid all this, grand scale, time jumps, logic crunches, there is one small human detail tucked in there. Clark and Lois apparently started their relationship 3 months earlier.
Yeah, and interestingly, the source says this is basically the only detail in the whole Rule of Three structure that actually feels like it lands effectively. It's relatable, it's personal, a nice character beat, giving them a little history amidst the epic stuff. But unfortunately, as the source points out, by the time you get this detail, the timeline's already a mess. The narrative inconsistencies kind of overshadow even this nice touch. It doesn't hit as hard as it could because the surrounding structure feels so shaky.
So let's try to sum this up. The main takeaway seems to be this stylistic choice, the rule of threes, aimed for rhythm, for flow. But according to the source analysis, it ends up twisting the logic, creating some pretty big inconsistencies in the world building for Superman 2025.
That's the core argument, yeah. The elegance of the rhythm seems to directly fight against narrative coherence. And the source really emphasizes the missed opportunities because of it. Like actually seeing some of those ancient metahumans, seeing Clark's early days, his debut, instead of just being told. And crucially, having a timeline that makes sense for character interactions, like that Lois interview. The big problems boil down to Superman feeling kind of late to his own party, the lack of significant early threats mentioned, and these really jarring time jumps and logistical issues.
Right. So this brings us to the final thought for you, the listener. How much do these choices, right at the start, in just the opening text, actually shape how you see the movie? How much does it impact the potential of this whole new DC universe? If the foundation feels a bit wobbly right from line one, does that set up bigger storytelling challenges down the road? And maybe how much slack are you willing to cut? How much does stylistic flair matter compared to just logical consistency?
It's a great question. How do you balance that cool, hooky intro with solid, believable world building? Because the details, especially setting the stage for an icon like Superman, they matter so much. It really makes you think critically about how stories get put together, doesn't it? Even before the first proper scene starts, every word counts, especially for Superman.
That's it. If you enjoyed my video concerning the opening text for Superman 2025, make sure to hit that like button. It helps the channel more than you know. Share this video with your fellow Superman fans. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into comic book lore, heroes, villains, and everything in between. Click the bell icon so you'll never miss when a new story drops. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, my PayPal link is down in the description and also on my homepage. It helps me with creating more epic comic book content for this channel. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay curious, keep imagining, and I'll catch you in my next comic book video.